Hi, I'm Sanguinisma and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk to you about digital anonymity and in particular how Nightcord at 25 uses digital anonymity in order to create effective intervention and durable infrastructure. Let's get started.
K、ずっと寝てないみたいだけど大丈夫？
でも、ユキも珍しく遅いね。
今日はね、みんな頑張ってるから、私もって思って。
In order to understand the role Nightcord at 25 plays in their world, we have to first look at how Nico was formed. First, it was Kanade who was making music alone. At some point, she realized she could be more efficient if she had a team, and recruited Mafuyu to do arrangements and lyrics for her music.
そっか。サビをこう展開させれば、全然印象が違う。エフェクトをかけるだけで空間の広がりができて、いろんな景色が自然と頭に浮かんでくる。すごい。この曲を聴いてると、新しい曲のイメージがどんどん湧いてくる。曲のイメージがびっくりするほどたくさん降りてきた。生々しい絶望と消えたくないっていう気持ちが触れそうなくらい近くにあった。もしかしたらユキっていう人の力を借りればもっと連絡を取ってみよう。
Over time, Mizuki and Enna brought a visual component to their music that did not exist before. Slowly, the four of them created a visual and audio landscape that viewers and listeners could enjoy and find community in together, all while never exposing too much about themselves. Even in the introduction of Nightcord in the official game, it is stated that no one knows exactly who Nightcord is or what kind of people they are. It is entirely possible to the audience that Nightcord is made up of 40-year-old salarymen and they would be none the wiser.
誰もいないね。っていうかこれ、異世界転生ものの冒頭みたいじゃない？
アミヤ、この状況でよくそんなのんきなこと言ってられるよね。ねえ。誰？エナナンとアミヤでしょ。
その声、ケイ？よかった。ケイも一緒に来てたんだね。
Something else that is important is that Nightcord actually start off anonymous to each other. Kanade doesn't recruit Mafuyu knowing who Mafuyu really is. All she knows is that Yuki has a vision that contrasts with her own and will therefore push back on her, regardless of what Yuki looks like in real life or what Yuki does in her day-to-day life.
気にしないで。それにしてもケイ、私が作ってた曲、覚えててくれたんだね。もう1年以上前になるのに。
すごく印象的だったから。
そっか。ケイと最初に連絡取り合ってから結構経つんだよね。いきなりアイコンもないしフォロワーもゼロの人から一緒に曲を作らないかって連絡が来て。最初スパムかなって思っちゃった。
あれはユキの曲を聴いてすぐ連絡しなきゃって急いでアカウントを作って。
すごく嬉しかった。でもそれからあっという間だったな。エナナンが入ってアミヤが入ってサークル名が決まって1年前は全然想像してなかったな。
When Kanade recruits Enna and Mizuki, she also doesn't know what Enna and Mizuki do in real life. She knows something has drawn them to her music and that she offers an opportunity the two of them are self-motivated to participate in, and she desires the reach that their help can provide. This anonymous exchange is central to creating trust between them, because none of them know each other's qualifications in real life other than those precisely relevant to the job at hand. There is no judgment of how beautiful, intelligent, or otherwise positively contributing to society any of the other members are, only that they are good enough at what they do and that they all collectively work well together.
じゃあ、私と同い年なんですね。私も同じ15歳なんですよ。
そうだったんですか。喋り方がしっかりしてるから年上の人かと思ってました。
しっかりなんてそんなことないですよ。それに実はチャットがつながってからずっと緊張してたんですよ。
私だけじゃなくてユキさんも緊張してたんですね。
もちろんですよ。こんな風に顔も知らない人と話すのも初めてですし。
エマとミズキは2人が曲を作るようになってしばらくしてから合流したのかしら。
ユキとボーカル入りの曲を作り始めてすぐにエナナンが曲をイメージしたイラストを作ってくれて。
あの時は本当にびっくりしちゃったな。まさか K から直接連絡が来るなんて。
僕も趣味で作った MV を K に見つけてもらった時は驚いたよ。
エマとミズキが入った頃はどんな雰囲気だったの？
二人が入った頃、
私も聞きたい。教えてくれる？
へえ、本当に聞きたい？昔のエナナは今よりも。
Even as the veil gets lifted, the addition of a profile to each of the Nightcord members only adds to their qualifications. Kanade's music is good because it comes from a place of knowing what true suffering is. It comes from a place of guilt. Mizuki's animations and designs are good because she has struggled to create and design a version of herself, the core of all her experiences, that matches what she truly feels inside. Mafuyu's arrangements and lyrics are good because they are an exploration of how she really feels, in contrast with how she wants to feel. Anna's art is good because she struggles to prove herself every day and struggles to live up to the legacy her father has created before her.
それにしても昨日ぶりなのにリアルで会うのは初めてなんだよね。ちょっと変な気分かも。
まあでも世界で会ったのはちょっと別っていうか、二人とも実在してたんだなってやっと実感できたよ。
Through making anonymity core to their infrastructure, they were able to create a system by which they could create music and effective visuals, an infrastructure for creation that translated to a real, albeit virtual, space for their audience to enjoy their music and find solace where they otherwise could not. This infrastructure that centers on digital anonymity is something I want to explore more deeply today and what it means for creating more effective policy and policy execution. In policy creation and execution, infrastructure typically refers to what is already in place to establish and measure policy making. For example, the court is established to evaluate the impact of laws and judge when the law has not been properly applied. Similarly, government agencies, nonprofits, and other purpose-driven organizations, even large corporations, create policy based off of existing infrastructure, then implement those policies and continuously evaluate them. What already exists to create, implement, and evaluate is the infrastructure. Whatever has to be added is an addition to the infrastructure and can become part of the infrastructure or can be removed over time. Naturally enduring infrastructure that withstands the test of time, typically is something that has proven itself to be good at what it does and to create effective policies that help people. For example, the workflows that Nightcord uses online may not be the most efficient way to do the things that they do, but they create good music, good videos, and good content for saving the people they want to save. That's why their infrastructure lasts.
迷惑かけてごめん。ねえ、それ本当に悪いと思って言ってるわけ？どうなのかな。自分でもよくわからなくて。何それ。散々振り回したんだから、もうちょっと反省してほしいんだけど。多分反省してると思うよ。あんた、もしかしてこれからずっとこんな感じなの？
はいはい、注文しよう注文。 僕もうお腹ペコペコ。ほら、エナは何にする？私、お昼遅かったからチーズケーキとアイスティー。
私は何でもいいかな。
何でもよくても決めて。ね、真冬。
K はどうするの？
私は
Obviously, Nigo are not policymakers, but that doesn't mean they don't make a different version of infrastructure. They make infrastructure that facilitates intervention into people's lives. Kanade began building this infrastructure by recruiting Mafuyu and creating a platform for Nightcord at 25. And through continuing to create music that might save someone, they maintain the infrastructure along with Mizuki and Ena. But the infrastructure is first achievable because they are anonymous. It allows them to put aside their personal struggles and hurdles and create something unifying under a persona. And it is maintained through the individual flavor and character of their works, delivered through what they want their audience to see. However, videos and music are not the only place people find solace in digitally. Now we have internet forums, the comment section of this video that you are watching, and other social media platforms. You even have the video games in which you might create an entire world to immerse yourself in to find solace in. Those come with their own infrastructure, whether it's a preset codebase that tells the world how to behave, or a particular style of content like what I have created for my audience. In this way, people benefit from being anonymous. Their audiences can only see what the creator has provided without fear of prejudice against the other aspects. Obviously, there are some things out of my control, like the fact that you can hear my voice, and whenever I do record something, you see how messy my desk is. But if those exchanges and things are things I'm okay with being criticized for, then the anonymity still serves its purpose, which is to center the attention on the content I'm delivering. Returning to real policy and its implications, typically they are not anonymous. When an elected representative proposes a bill to their legislature, that bill is labeled in a unique way that is then attached to their name. Everyone in the legislature and anyone who knows how to do a quick Google search can immediately find out who proposed the original bill, and in some cases, what their intent was. This sometimes deters legislators from ever proposing bills, and sometimes that's a good thing. For example, if a legislator proposed a bill saying that we should levy taxes that are double what they are now on all citizens because he wants to use the revenue to pay for his third house in Malta, then yes, I would also want to know what legislator proposed that bill and have him impeached immediately. Even though we want some of our elected representatives accountable, what stops the average person from participating in democracy and civic exchange is sometimes the fact that their identity is tied to their opinion. When we post our political opinions to our friends on Instagram, or even DM someone we are close to about a political issue, some of that fear is tied to the fact that yes, it is coming from you as an individual and not some faceless, nameless identity. In the future, when your friend reflects on this reality, they may begin to tie your identity with that particular political expression, and that is part of what makes individual people less likely to participate in political discourse, aside from the additional effort that it takes to consume and digest that information. A huge part of the reason why Kanade is someone who is scared to even talk to strangers on the street when they come up to her first is that she is normally an anxious person. She is very good at what she does, yet lacks the personal motivation and force to move forward. When she makes the profile at K, it matters less to her that people may be able to identify her as Kanade, but more so that the initial impression is that people think this is some random person on the internet that makes music. Through this anonymity, Kanade can only receive speculation rather than clear-cut knowledge that someone may have of her person, and therefore avoids prejudice or other judgment based on these factors. For example, there are some comments in the Nightcord trailer that suggest viewers and followers of Nightcord in the Project Sekai universe are somewhat suspicious or at least thinking about the members' identities in real life. Some of them suspect that they're middle-aged men who might be going through something. Others think that they might be teenagers going through something, and they would be right. Obviously, being anonymous doesn't stop speculation about identity from happening, but it does help center the focus on the work rather than the people, since the people are no longer visible. This is what anonymity in policymaking or implementation would try to target. However, there's a key issue with some cases of anonymity that I haven't talked about yet, and it's the fact that you can sometimes suspect who is behind something. For example, you might be able to envision a group or person who is behind a particular bill or initiative if that bill or initiative covers a particular set of topics, like if a gay rights bill were to pass and its sponsor is listed to be anonymous, and you know there's only one representative in the House who is queer, then that narrows things down quite a bit. Therefore, another condition for anonymity to be effective is that the anonymity itself is durable. Not just that, but the music also needs to last beyond when Nightcord were going through that specific event that inspired it, and it needs to be a living portfolio of their growth if they want to portray that humanity. The policies need to last beyond an individual legislature's term or even beyond the legacy of a certain generation, because it serves not only the people that will be alive at that particular point in time, but rather as many people as possible that will come after that generation. This is the value of anonymous infrastructure that is also durable. As one example, Medicare and Medicaid were actually created by the Republican Party, even though many of its supporters now are Democrats. This was because the issue passed with bipartisan support in order to support the people that needed it most, regardless of who they vote for or how they identify. Therefore, by allowing some controlled anonymity, not unlike that of Nightcord at 25 from Hit Game Project Sekai, we allow for more people to engage in political conversation and self-representation. In fact, with the rise of technology and civic participation, we do see this already to some extent. From Mamdani's mayoral campaign in New York, which allowed netizens to engage with a media form that they could easily consume and understand, as well as engage with anonymously if they so desired, to Team Mirai in Japan, which has taken the public media's attention and several seats of the national diet. The use of the internet as a public forum for political and civic engagement has allowed for anonymity like never before, and given us a world where more good things might be done in the same spirit as Kay intended when she created Nightcord. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my channel and subscribe if you want to be notified when I publish more content about Nightcord, policy, or anything that falls in between. I'm also on Substack at Sanguinisma, and as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!